sugar babying, escorting, brothel work, massage, OnlyFans, waitressing, and dancing.
The first thing I ever did was sugaring off seeking arrangements.
How do you kind of separate your sex life to your work life?
And that's something I really struggle with, especially because I did do full service. And then he scooped me up with like one arm and he like flung me over the balcony. Brothel work was emotionally like by far the hardest.
Do you ever feel shame around what you do?
Now, no. It wasn't even worth the money because when it happened, I just felt that it was dirty money. Why is it, how can you sleep with married men and not, why are these married men cheating? For me, like the biggest lesson I've learned was like letting go of my scarcity mindset, where I was compromising my own health and my safety and sanity. And I was just so focused on making as much money as I could.
Wow, I feel good. I knew that I would now. I feel good.
Welcome to another episode of the Spicy Waitress Diaries. I'm your host here, and this is Opal, and we're sitting with Ari today.
Hello.
So Ari's been in the industry for 5 years. She does a variety of work from sugar babying, escorting, brothel work, massage, OnlyFans, waitressing, and dancing.
And have done.
So over the 5 years, that's everything. You've tried everything.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's been a bit longer than that. Like, if we want to be technical, since I was 18. But in the first kind of few years, it was very on and off. I only started really kind of making this my actual career maybe like 5 years ago.
Okay, yeah. What's your favorite? I like all of them.
Definitely dancing / toppies 100%.
So what made you start in the industry?
Okay, I'm gonna sound like a freak when I say this, but since I was like 6 or 7, I for some reason just really wanted to be a stripper, and maybe not specifically a stripper, but I just had this vision of myself older, like being sexy, wearing lingerie, like making money off men, that kind of like, yeah, yeah. And I was just like obsessed with the Pussycat Dolls. My favorite movie was Sucker Punch, like all these little things.
Is that?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, not normal for like a child, I don't think. And yeah, I remember like very specifically my dad would pick up me and my sisters from school, take us to my mum's work, and on the way was Siren Doll, and I'd like look at the mannequin wearing lingerie and be like, that's going to be me when I'm older, when I was like 7, which is not normal. But yeah, and then as soon as I kind of left school, I just threw myself into it really. Like I kind of just said, like, I'm old enough now. So
Yeah. And so what was your first thing that you did?
the first thing I ever did was sugaring off seeking arrangements, which is just so like so cliche. But yeah, I met up with a guy within like a few days of talking to him on
How
the
old were you?
website. I was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I did that, I was like, that's so gross. I'm never doing that again. Yuck. I'm just going to keep doing my normal retail job. And then 6 months later, I kind of like that curiosity peaked and I said, why do I want to try it again? And it kind of kept going from this like back and forth for a couple of years until I kind of sank into brothel work, which was my next part of the industry that I started.
Yeah. So how does it work in a brothel? I've always been really intrigued.
The city brothels are a little bit different to the suburban brothels. I've worked at both. So you can either have like a private intro where the guys will sit in a room and then one by one the girls will come up, give like a really quick intro, and then they'll choose who they want to go with. But a lot of the city ones, it's kind of just like an open lounge setting. So the girls will just be kind of mingling and then we can go up to the guys, they can come up to us. It's kind of like a lounge setting, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get to pick in that setting who you go with, or they pick you?
They pick you, but you also can decline the client. I mean, if management is doing what they're supposed to be doing, then yeah. Otherwise, it's trafficking, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So if you don't want to do it and they make you,
Yeah.
trafficking.
Yes. It's never happened to me personally, but there are obviously establishments where things can kind of be a bit grey. But I've never had that experience myself. But
We had another girl come on and she was saying that she was not ready to work and just not feeling it, and the management was just like, well, you've got 2 clients out there, so what do you want me to do? And
yeah.
she had to do it. But yeah, not a very nice situation to be in.
No, I've heard of stories like that happening too. I think it's like specifically certain owners that monopolize the industry. I think people might know, but I don't need to say. Yeah, but yeah, I've been lucky that everywhere I've worked has been like relatively safe and supportive of the girls.
And how about the clientele that comes through in the city one versus the suburban?
I'd say it's like pretty much the same, except the city kind of does tend to attract more travelers naturally. It's kind of just like working at like the strip club, but it's pretty much the same. Like it's just men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get lawyers and like people who keep it very hush hush? They don't want anyone to know they're going there.
A little bit. I found that more when I was working in Sydney. But I think those ones that do want to keep it more hush hush, they kind of go down the escorting part, which I also did later down the track.
If you could handpick a client, your favorite type of client, what would that look like? Who would that be?
Just anyone that I don't feel like I have to put on too much of a persona with, and someone that's just respectful, like super basic. I don't need someone to be like hot or like filthy rich or anything, but just like, yeah, just respectful and just nice enough.
I guess it'd be a big switch with your mindset. How do you get into the right mindset before you go into a job? Or all the different things you've done, you'd have to kind of chop and change.
Definitely. I found that I really had to work on my mindset a lot more when I started dancing because it's so much more of like a game, and the skills you need are just so much harder. Not harder, but it's more of like a learning curve than doing full service. For me personally, I just find that I really need to get myself calm. If I'm walking into work and I'm feeling really anxious, it's not going to translate well, and I'm just going to be focusing on the wrong things. But if honestly I'm just calm, I tend to I do pretty well.
So obviously with sex work, it's an energy exchange. How do you kind of separate your sex life to your work life?
Yeah. See, that's a really, really tricky one. And that's something I really struggle with, especially because I did do full service for a lot longer than I wanted to. For me, I mean, when I started doing full service, I feel like I was very young and I was entering that phase of life where you're dating and you're having fun and you're sleeping around, whatever. And as time went on, that dropped off just because my body wasn't really wanting it, like, or mentally either. Like, I was just so put off by men. And yeah, honestly, like, that's still something I'm still recovering from, even though I've left full service about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does it really feel like work for you, or do you still get pleasure out of sometimes bookings and things like that?
For me, it definitely feels like work, like absolutely. And I think, I don't know, I know I just said that did affect my sex life, but at the same time, weirdly, and I feel like a lot of workers or people that don't do full service won't understand this, but to me, like, I don't view full service work as sex, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's probably not the healthiest, but I would kind of disassociate a lot of the time when I was doing it. But that did help me kind of separate and not connect it with like my own body as much.
I'm sure it can be a bit of a superpower if you have that skill to dissociate in that current environment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, with me as well at work, I like to dissociate all the time.
Yeah.
How many guys did you do in a day, do you reckon?
Gosh, it's really hard to answer this because I only started tracking my income and those kinds of things last year. So the first few years of me in this industry, I was just really rogue. So I can't say for sure, but I would say maybe like 10 to 15 would
In
be
a
my
day?
highest. Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, and that's not even that high compared to other people. Like, I was not one of the more popular girls. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was at the brothel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long are those sessions?
They kind of ranged from, I think the shortest is 20 minutes to an hour plus, but typically you don't really get guys that will book more than 1 hour.
Okay, yeah. Do they have a time limit, or they're like finished in 5 minutes, or what? You just sit down and chat?
Yeah, it's so different. Like, some guys will book you for an hour and just want to like pump you the whole time, in which case like I just refuse to do that. And then some guys will just want to chat. It's just so different. It's kind of like working at the club where you'll get guys that just want you to twerk on them the whole time, or you'll get guys that just want to chat and just get to know you.
Yeah, that's a good question. I always wonder about that, like whether, they're like, I paid for an hour. Like, You should be working for an hour.
Yeah.
So I know you don't work anymore as full service, but what did a week look like for you between all the different services you offered? Was it all of them in 1 week, or you kind of space it out?
Yeah, so when I was doing full service, it was pretty much just full service, and I did OnlyFans for a little bit, massage for a little bit, but ever since I've started dancing and waitressing, like it's just been like completely separate.
Yeah.
But when I was doing full service, I was such a workaholic.
Sorry.
I think once I worked like 21 days in a row or something ridiculous. Yeah, and I would work like often the full days. So I worked at heaps of different places, but for example, like multiple times I'd work like 10 a.m. to 3 a.m., 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Like I really, really pushed myself. Yeah. That being said, like for me personally, working at a brothel doesn't require as much energy as at a strip club because there's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of sitting in the girls' room and just you can be on your laptop or read a book, and then once a client comes in, you talk to him. Whereas at a strip club, you're turned on the whole time, switched on, not turned on.
So, working for 5 years, you'd have a lot of experiences with a variety of clients. Can you give us scary, funny stories?
For sure. I think like the scariest one that comes to mind, this is when I was private escorting. I was with a client, and because I was such a workaholic, I found myself pushing my own boundaries more and more as time went on, just for the sake of money. And this one guy was smoking meth a lot. And before I'd started this industry, I was so anti-drugs, like anti-drinking, whatever, as we all are. And I just got very used to being around all kinds of substances, never really like worried about it anymore. Anyway, I was at this guy's apartment once and we were joking around. We were just taking the piss out of each other. And I can't even remember what I said. It was something so silly. And he just lost it. And he lived on like the 17th floor or something, had a balcony. So he was really jacked. I think he was roided as well. Yeah.
Method boys.
Yeah. And then he scooped me up with like one arm and he like flung me over the balcony. He was like holding my legs and he was like, I couldn't hear what he was saying because my head was down there and like the wind was blowing and stuff. He was screaming at me and I was just like terrified. And yeah, he flung me over the balcony and just was holding me by my legs. Yeah. And then he was just saying some shit.
So scary.
Yeah. And I wasn't even like screaming. I just was frozen because I was like, if I scream, if I move, I might slip. So I was just staying as still as I could. He was yelling something to me I couldn't really understand. Anyway,
Pulled you up.
he pulled me up, obviously, yeah. And then as soon as he pulled me up, we went back inside. He went completely back to normal. Yeah. And he was just like, oh, like, what do you want to watch? And I was just like trying so hard not to cry in front of this man. And the crazy thing is I didn't even like leave after that. Like I think I was just so frozen, but also at the same time I was like, he's got money. I want to milk him for more. Like that was my focus, not my own safety.
When did that happen?
I think that would have been like 2022,
So how long
2023.
started? Sorry, 1 year or 2 years?
Escorting like 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Way that he just like did he think he was like joking around, like being cheeky?
No, he flipped because you know how when they're on meth they flip really quickly. Yeah, so we were just joking and bantering, and I think I just like made a joke about him that I didn't realize he didn't like it.
So after that, were you kind of scared to come back into the industry? Did you have a break or?
Not at all, and that's like what's so fucked about me is that like I've had so many of these instances of like being drugged and stuff, and like I've just always been like, oh well, like I didn't die, so and that's always been my mentality, which has been not safe and like not very good spiritually and energetically either.
So you touched on how private escorting, brothel work as well. Does that kind of affect you energetically, or is it just the private escorting?
Absolutely. I would say for me anyway, brothel work was emotionally like by far the hardest. It's so hard because not only do you have the element of the sexual, energetic exchange, but it's also just the mindset you need because a lot of the times it's kind of like the club. Like, you turn up and you don't know what you're going to make. You could leave with nothing. You could leave with thousands or whatever. So to kind of just be sitting around and just waiting all day is just a very hard feeling. And it's different to a club in the sense that you can't really hustle the same way. Like, you intro, but it's not really in the culture to kind of push to get a booking. Yeah, you kind of just say your bit, which is a minute, and then the client just chooses. And if you are one of those girls that hustles, it is kind of looked down on.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. What would your bit be?
Mine was so to the point because I was just not there to fuck around, honestly. I would just say, hi, my name is blah, blah. Do you want to hear my services? And if they said yes, I'd say, I offer a girlfriend experience, which includes this, this, this. Is there anything particular you're looking for? And then usually it's a no, and then that's it. So super short and sweet.
I feel like it would be a yes for you. I can't believe that you weren't the most popular there.
No, never. Pretty much not. Maybe in Sydney a little bit,
Yep.
but not so much in Melbourne, no.
Okay. How many girls would be there on a night?
It depends where. So in the city, like in the city where it's busier, honestly, like 20, 30, 40, 50 kind of
Wow.
thing. But in the suburban ones, often they max out the shifts. So I worked at one for a while where it was absolute maximum 8.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
usually
Big
6.
difference.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be kind of good.
Yeah, it was nicer. It was like less like
Mm.
mental kind of stress.
Okay. I got told this story from an owner of a club at Crown, and they were saying when Drake came down, he had like his private chef would come down to the bottom. They'd have all brothel girls or escorts come lined up, and he'd just be like, you upstairs. And then after like an hour, nothing. And he'd just look in the spinning doors, up they go. Like an hour later, he'd go to the guy at Crown, go find me another 10.
Wow.
It'd be like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, that's the
So-
culture in America from what I've
Okay.
seen. Yeah.
So is that, so you said you walk around and mingle, but do they ever just line you up and the client comes in and does that?
That's never really happened to me. I haven't witnessed that. The closest would be a place I worked in Sydney. We had badges with numbers on them, like we were fucking cattle.
Oh, wow.
And then the client would just go, yeah, number 3.
No.
Yeah, I hated that so much.
Yeah.
Did you feel like objectified?
A little bit, yeah. And it's like, I don't even mind that. I don't need a client to remember my name. Like, that's fine. But it's just more the badge and the number. Like, it actually felt like I was a piece of meat.
Yeah, definitely. Do you ever feel shame around what you do?
Now, no. But I think a little bit with past things I've done, only because it didn't align to who I am. And like, not in a judgmental way. I don't look down on anyone that does any kind of work at all. But a little bit, yeah, just because it wasn't for me, and I was really pushing myself into something that didn't work for me purely just for money and because I thought that was the only option.
So now being out of it, you're a lot happier, you're doing Topless. How's that with your social life and your intimate relationships now?
Yeah, so I think I'm still getting used to working nights. It's really not easy. I'm so naturally a morning person. So in that aspect, it's kind of hard because I feel like I've been to a few social events with friends and family and stuff where I'm really not present because I'm just exhausted from working the night before, even like 2 nights before. And in terms of intimacy and stuff, like that's still something I'm working on getting over. But it's definitely been so much better since leaving full service.
Yeah, what's your least favorite type of client?
Just anyone that is going to do anything that is non-consensual, essentially, like the worst of the worst. Like I had a really fucked situation. So I met this client at the brothel. Straight off the bat, he tipped me 1,000, which for the brothel is a lot of money. I mean, in general, it's a lot of money, but especially for the brothel. And I thought, like, you know, game on. This guy's got a lot of money. He asked me, would you want to meet me outside of here? I said yes. He asked me where I wanted to meet him. I said, you have to book me a hotel room at Crown, of course. And he did that. And then as soon as I got there, gave me 4K. And we proceeded and he stealthed me, which for anyone who doesn't know is when they take the condom off without consent. And from that, he gave me chlamydia as well, which is the only time I've ever had chlamydia. And like I was always practicing safe sex pretty much. Those kind of situations, obviously, they're horrible. So anything like that.
Did you
And
do anything about it or not really?
here's the thing, like, as I said before, because I was such a workaholic and I was just so focused on money rather than my own peace, all I did was call him and say, "You gave me chlamydia." And he was just like, "Oh, like, my bad," kind of thing. And instead of cutting him off, he wanted to see me again. So I kept in contact with him purely just because he gave me a lot of money, which is just so ridiculous and like something I would never do now.
Yeah, yeah. No, no judgment at all. Like I completely relate to that. And there is a thing, it's spoken about how, in your situation before that got dangerous with the balcony, like when something bad happens to you, because we're so put on this mask the whole time, we tend to just keep in that character. And
Yeah.
I've done that as well. Like I haven't stood up for myself, and then you go home hating yourself
Yeah,
because you didn't, stand up for your morals or stand up for yourself in that moment. So
exactly.
it's hard to like
It is.
It's between the two.
Yeah, and I felt so dirty after as well. And it wasn't even worth the money because when it happened, I just felt that it was dirty money. And I ended up just giving it to my mum because I was like, I don't actually want this. Like, it feels really disgusting to just keep it.
What's your opinion on sleeping with married men?
Yeah, look, I think I'm not asking every single man that comes in, are you married? Are you not? Like, some guys are going to be open about it, some guys are going to hide it. It's not really up to me to be the judge. All I can do is just I'm just there, I'm just working. I'm providing a service, they're offering the service. I don't think I'm doing anything immoral. Like, they're the ones that are coming to me. I'm not seeking them out.
They're going to go to someone else anyway.
Exactly. And I think that whole narrative is just, once again, like, placing the blame on women. Like, why is it, how can you sleep with married men and not, why are these married men cheating?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
Definitely.
would you have married
Yeah,
men
I remember someone said to
complain
me, "You're gonna get the worst
and talk
karma."
about, oh my
Like,
God,
in your own relationship.
I've had
Like, I'm not in a
fights the
relationship
past.
right now, actually.
Yeah, doing a dance or something, or you talk to them and then they're like, oh, I'm married, and just start talking about it, and you're like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah. Once I saw a guy at the brothel and he said, "Oh, it's me and my wife's 50th anniversary today, but she doesn't want to have sex with me, so I'm here. I told her I've gone to the shops to get her a present." And I was like, "Oh, like, I don't know what they want me to say to that." So I was just like, "Okay, like." But speaking of married men, actually, I was working at the club a few months ago, and this guy comes in and I recognize him because he to work more than I wanted to, more than I had to, and especially with clients where I didn't feel safe, but I just felt like I had to be there just for the sake of making money. And it was only really in like the last year that I got to unpack that. And when I was unpacking that, I had to also go through a process of accepting that my income was going to decrease, because if I'm not, scrounging for every last dollar, naturally my money would go down. And I actually found the opposite happened.
I was going to actually say, did it work out the other way? Because when you
yeah,
live abundantly and you're living with yourself,
yeah,
it comes.
absolutely. Yeah, it did. And I was really surprised at that. And I think it sounds so corny and fake, but I think if you really do have like a deep self-respect, it does show up in work a lot of the time. Like, I know that's also a very privileged thing to say, but for me anyway, that's how it happened. And even though I'm like working less and I have such firmer boundaries, I'm actually making more money than I was than before.
They're good. So get rid of the scarcity mindset,
Definitely.
have boundaries, and track your income.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
Thank you so much for jumping on. It was so interesting to hear your story. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Spicy Waitress Diaries. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode. Mwah.